Welcome back to the shop. It's been a hot minute. I've been stupid busy, and I've been doing kind of boring, repetitive stuff, but as you can maybe see on the wall behind me, I've actually finished all the wide boards on the two long walls of the shop. So let's go take a quick look at that. There was a lot of these boards that were different width. Some of these were more narrow than others. These are about 9.5, and then these are in the order of 7 or whatever. And then the one down here on the edge is about 5. These all get trim boards across the outside, and then there'll be a batten on this face on top of that edge. Talk about the windows here in a second, and we're going to maybe get that today. Like I said, it's the 10th of March, so it's a Thursday. It's a stunning day out here. It's just really nice. And here's our other wall. We'll come down here and take a look down the wall. It looks so much more finished. I need to even back up from this, don't I? Get the whole wall in view. Back out on the far side of my garage. There we go. Looking done-ish. Obviously still needs the battens on it, but that's a lot of work, man. That's there's a lot of boards, and my pile of lumber is getting smaller, but still got plenty to do, plenty to work with. Certainly have enough for all the outside, and I have most, if not all, of the inside. As I've noted before, it's a little dark down this far end. That's going to change today because I'm going to start putting these windows in. There's 4 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4 is the other way. I don't know. So there's 4 of them down there. I have basically a 4-step plan to do that. First thing is, we paneled over these and then we just Tyvek'd on the outside. So one of the things is I need to wrap the Tyvek in through the window frame, and so that I have a seal all the way around the insides of this 2x4 frames. And right now, there's no markings on the outside, either on the wallboard, wafer board, or the Tyvek, to tell me where the corners of those windows are. So I have a long drill bit, and I'm going to drill into the corner, right in the corners of each of the 4 corners of each window, and go out through the Tyvek. Right? So then I can take a razor knife and cut a diagonal so that I can fold the flaps of the Tyvek in and seal it into the windows. But that'll also show me, where the 4 corners are on the plywood, obviously. But first, before I fold those in, I need to cut it and fold them out of the way, because I need to cut this plywood out. Well, it's wafer board, whatever you want to call it these days. I think it's wafer board. So that sheathing needs to get cut, and I've seen a couple different ways to do that, but one of them that I saw that looked really fast and clean was to do it with a router. Now, I don't really want to be climbing on a router, because outside that's about 12 feet in the air, and I don't really want to be running a router from the outside. So I figured what I would try and do is I would use my jigsaw and cut, about an inch. If I lay the jigsaw on the 2x4s and cut through, then I'm gonna leave about a 1-inch gap all the way around. But that means that I could then run the router from the inside by just holding the router with a following bearing bit all the way around the inside, and basically get a nice clean cut. So we're going to try and do that, and then we'll fold the Tyvek in once that's good to go. And then I need to once the Tyvek's in and trimmed, then these windows that I bought don't have a flange on them. Normally you would buy windows for this kind of construction that have a flange on the outside. I meant to buy them, but when I actually got the windows, I didn't pay attention to the ones they gave me. This was from a reclaimed Restore. The Restore is part of Habitat for Humanity, and they take surplus stock and things like that from stores and whatever, and resell it. And one set of windows that I had looked at had the flanges on them, but the windows that they brought out to me weren't from the same pile. So I got ones with no flanges, and I didn't really pay attention to that until I had gotten home. So I just kept them. So what I'm going to need to do is put some kind of stop blocks on the outside so that the windows won't fall out when I try and put them in the holes. So I'm just going to screw some poplar blocks on the outside, like around the corners and maybe across the middle, so that when I go to push the window out, it stops right cleanly on the outside face, and then I can screw the windows in and not have to worry about them falling outside. Really don't want to drop one of these windows. So we'll see how well that all goes. Come along for the ride. Well, slight change of plans. I have a pattern following bit. I can't find it anywhere. It's very annoying. So I found the little pouch that it came in, but not the bit itself. I have 3 routers. It's not one of the routers. That's very annoying. Did find my long drill bit. So I'm just going to do the whole thing with a jigsaw. Let me show you something else that I did recently. I've kind of invested in the DeWalt system recently, but I just found this really cool thing. Let me show you. Got to hunker down because I'm taller than this. I found recently that you can buy molded plastic interfaces, and this has a D on one side and M on the other. I assume it's from Milwaukee, but I've placed these on here, so now all my battery-powered tools are just sitting waiting for me on the wall. All right, is that great? I know where they are. I can just put them. I can just put it right here, put it away. It sits there waiting for me. Those are pretty cool. And these holders for the batteries. So let me show. When the batteries are charged, like this one's charged right now, I can take that off and set it up here so I know it's charged. And then I can pull the charged ones off of those. This whole kit with like 10 of each of these, 10 of these plus 10 of the tool holders was $20 from Amazon, and came with the screws. Works great. So that's me getting organized. What do you know? Guess I should also show this. This whole tool holder is just sitting here, right? This is on a French cleat system. This is cut, board is cut 45 back toward the wall. Back side of this has got a 45 on it. I can just hang it wherever I want it. So that's my plan for all of my tool holders in the shop, is to set this up pretty much just strips all the way down the wall. That way, I can take this, and if I decided I want it over here or I want it on the other end, I just pick it up and move it. Right now it's really convenient because it's right by the door. I can come in, here's my tools, here's my flashlight, driver, impact driver, drill, second drill, I end up with 2 drills. And, I staggered them specifically because of the jigsaw. The jigsaw needed to sit like the other way, and it needed to sit kind of that way. So that's why I staggered them. It looks nice. All right, let's see what we get here. Man, is this drill bit dull? Holy cow. Oh, that's a pain. You're going to need a touch-up of some sort. Yeah, the end of that's just rounded over. All right, so there's my 4 holes. Let's go. Let's see what this looks like outside. Well, the holes are pretty obvious. That's good. Here's the second one. So I need to cut diagonals down from these toward the center and give myself an opening. The other ones are way down there. Alright, so I got the openings cut and the flaps temporarily taped out of the way with a little duct tape. Let's go cut a hole. It's kind of scary. Now all the windows, just because of the placement of the way the boards fell, they all have a seam between them. This one actually has a bit of a gap, so some ways makes things easier to start. But this cuts real fast. And I'm probably blocking the view now, but you're getting to my backside. Where it is! A little light in here. All right. I guess the question I can answer right away is how difficult is it to follow this from the outside? And that answer is, it's dead easy. Probably better than with a router, so cool. Let's turn this around. Now that I think about it, before I cut this lip off, it's about an inch and almost an inch and a half. I wondered whether the windows would do better to sit up against this. In order to screw them in. I don't have to put any bracing on the outside. The question is whether or not they need to go to the outside face of the sheathing or the inside face of the sheathing, and I don't know that answer. So I'm going to finish doing this rough cut and then I'm going to go get one of the windows. Dealing with a smaller piece, cutting that in half first, definitely the right answer. Let's go get a window. All right, here's a piece of 2x4 to use as a blocker, and so the window is this part of the frame is exactly the width of a 2x4. Well, it's 2x4s. So I really do want this to sit, this face right here, to sit on the inside edge of that sheathing, but the 1 1/4, whatever that is too wide right now. This from here to here is just basically an inch, a little less than an inch, but I have the gap, the rough opening is a ½ inch wider than this, so I have a 1/4 inch leeway on each side. So this really should be an inch in. Let's go look at that sheathing gap. It's larger than that right now, but I'd probably draw a line on it and make it work. Yeah, as I guessed, the saw leaves about 1.5 inches. So I need to come down a ½ inch, but I need to leave a lip all the way around on this. And then it'll get, on that beveled edge, it'll get another piece of poplar on the outside. Of course, poplar goes on the outside of this, and it can actually come further in. I'll make a frame around it, and then the sheathing will butt up against the frame. Let's figure out how I'm going to cut that down to 1 inch. Fortunately, the one thing I have a lot of that's 1 inch thick is rough cut poplar. That is almost exactly the right size. So I can use this as a gauge, run my reciprocating cell just right onto this piece of wood and slide it along the 2x4. I think that'll work. actually looking at the window, turns out the bottom of the window needs to be flush. The other three sides need to have this gap. So the bottom I just need to cut flush all the way to the 2x4. This board's got a little bit of a curve in it. I need to make sure that I'm staying tight on the outside face there. And not dropping! Come here. Hi, I'm not left-handed. Despite that, I'm doing all right. The nice thing with this is I can hold the board and follow along with the saw. I'm not running the saw along the board, so it's easier to stay at the right depth. Ladder time. Turns out, router wouldn't have been the right tool to use at all. If I'd done this with the router, it'd have been wrong. Happy accident. Just trying to size. It looks like that'll work. Top edge looks like it's the same. You know, I might. Thinking about the geometry here. All right, well, we got, this is kind of just sitting here, but goes up and down real nice. That means it's nice and even. Set of screws goes here, and then you release this out. Another set that goes here. They lock that way. So it's just compression fit here, but it's actually really not going anywhere. You had to push it in pretty good. So I'm pretty happy with that install. Nice. These are going to be great. I actually have the install instructions from the manufacturer in the house. So I need to go print out a copy of those and make sure I'm putting in the screws in the correct places. There's screws that they gave us, came with the windows, and then there's little white caps to go cover the holes. Yeah, it's gonna be great. So, kind of as expected, they give you these crap Phillips head screws. They're soft metal. They're crap. I'm putting in the T25 Torx construction screws I've been using for everything else. It does mean that this flat head here was a little bit of a concern. And here you got a bugle, but I put one in and I can actually see it pull the window out, so I backed it off a little bit and put it in their side. They work great, so I'm going with my standard construction screw. I hate Phillips screws. Hate Phillips screws! So the window's all in good and tight, it's not going anywhere. There's actually foam rubber around this edge, which the installation guide doesn't even talk about. I wonder whether or not somebody put that on there before they gave it over to Habitat for Humanity. I don't know. But it holds good. The screws held fine. The bugle heads, they were okay.
So I put them in until I could see the window start to move with the impact driver, and then I backed them off until it kind of came back out. So nothing moves side to side, and then you just put it down with fingertip, perfect. So you can see that there's a light gap under here, and that's because we shimmed this up on the ends per the installation guide, so the top was tight. And these are all level and square and all that stuff, so that's all good. But I need to fill this gap. So on the outside, what I'm going to do, I'm going to put a 2-inch trim, rough cut poplar trim all the way around, and then the board and batten poplar is going to butt up against it. Underneath here, on the outside, I need that to shed water though. So I'm actually going to cut 45 on that, long ways. This board will be 34 inches long, 2 inches wide, and have a 45 on the top. So that'll shed water down off of this, and then I can fill the bottom gap here inside with expanding foam. Once I have something on the outside that's going to keep the foam from just going out. I need something. I need a backer back here. We did use this protective stuff on the bottom, Protecto wrap on the bottom. But when I look at the installation on the rest of this, it doesn't make sense. So this bottom plate is going to be sealed, but there's not really a good way to mount it on the rest of the outside edges or anything and seal it to the window. So I'm just going to caulk this on the outside edge. There will be a piece of metal flashing across the top just to make sure the water sheds properly off that top lip. So I need to go cut those on the table saw in the other shop, because I haven't moved the table saw over here yet, or the bandsaw. That's actually hopefully a this weekend project. I keep saying that, and it keeps not happening. But then I'll have at least one of these figured out. So the rest of them should go a lot faster than the first one, because I had to figure a lot of things out here. So off I go to cut that. All right, so here it is installed. This angle doesn't actually go all the way to a point. It comes to a flat and sits up against that, 2 inches on each side. All right. Window. All right. I'm on the third window. The second one went in about an hour, and I learned a lesson or two on that. And hopefully the third one will go even faster. So, already holes cut out. I need to trim the edge using my method of having a board as a guide. On the last one, the top actually needed to be trimmed back to this width as well, whereas on the first one I left it the width of whatever the saw cut here on the edge. So, slight variation in the framing, I guess, but I mean it was only 1/4 of an inch, so I don't know. I cut all these at the same time, all these jacks and headers and all this stuff, so got me, I don't know, it's just different. I made it work. One thing that's hard is to try and keep the saw flat on the outside face. while you're looking at it from behind. All right, that ought to do. Let's see what we have here. All right, good test fit, plate's good. Shim the bottom, pull it up tight against the top, but I need to fold all the tie back in first. But I want to make sure I had all the thing fit and it's all nice and tight. All right, pull it back out. Bring it on, it made a little. Oh, hey, sorry about that. Everybody all right in there? Generally, whatever tool, air tool specifically I'm using, carry extra ammo with me. So I cut these triangles and then I duct taped them to the outside, so I just grab the full length. Not really my primary, weather type seal here or anything, but I figured might as well, right? I mean, it's kind of last line of defense on the window stuff. There's a second layer here that I missed. For all you car guys out there, I keep wanting to call this stuff Dynamat. Protecto wrap. So I'm going up about inch and a half up the wall, and same on the other side. I'm cutting it about here. There we go. Put it out of the way because I don't want to get any sawdust on it. Need that for a little bit of a relief cut. So there's this paper is split. Yeah, let's see it. So this paper's split. There's a narrow side and a wide side, and I'm putting the narrow side on the 2x4 because it just about fits. So you kind of lay this down and pull the narrow side off. Try not to touch it because you want it to grip. Make sure all the sawdust is out of the way. Somebody definitely gonna come along and tell me I'm doing this wrong, but it's gonna be too late by then. Supposed to use a J roller to seat this stuff, make sure it's seated really well. What I have is his baby brother, a little bitty glue roller, which probably isn't really doing much, but it lets me put a little more pressure on it than I can put with my fingers, so that's what I need. It's what I have. Better than nothing, I suppose. I'm also putting a piece of flashing on the top. I might put some of this protective mat up top as well. Hadn't decided, but here, let me show you the piece of flashing I got cut. So I have a piece of flashing here and a board that is going to go on top of the windows. This is like the first one. I haven't put it up yet. So the bevel on the outside of the windows is 26 degrees. That's what this surface is, 26. And then a 45 on top. There's going to be vertical boards that come down on the outside of the sheathing, come down to this with a 45 on them. So there's that drip edge all the way across. And then I bent this piece of sheet metal, which is the same length, 34 inches, to that same angle. So you've got, not only you've got a wooden drip edge, but you've actually got a metal drip edge under that that'll be on the outside of the windows. So I don't really think I need the extra protective mat on the top. There's going to be, like I said, rough cut poplar on top of that and caulk all the way down the sides and around the bottom and top and stuff like that. So it'll be, we'll have poplar, aluminum, caulk, Tyvek, and exterior sheathing. I'm probably okay. So I need to go make 3 more of these, and then the piece that's under the windows is a 45 up under the window. I think I showed that before. 45 up under the window, and same width. And then so then the verticals that go alongside the windows will have a 45 cut here. I'm sorry, they'll have this is the top, so this is the underside of the top. They'll have a 26 degree angle cut here and go down to the top of the lower piece of trim where there's a 45. So there's drip edge here, there's board there, and it'll actually cover the outside edge of the vinyl on the windows. Well, I got 3 out of the 4 installed, and that's all I'm going to get done today. It's Saturday, by the way, if I didn't say that, 11th of March today. And I got 3 out of the 4. I need to get the bottom sills, and actually I probably should get the top plates installed, but I at least need to get the bottom plates, trim plates, and caulking done. Because it's supposed to rain tomorrow. Tomorrow's Sunday. I go to church, and don't usually get home from church and fellowship and visiting my mom until like, I don't know, 3 or something o'clock in the afternoon. So I need to make sure these are weather tolerant for tomorrow. And we'll get the 4th one done. I might do it tomorrow. If it's not raining, I'll do it tomorrow. Looks and feels really good. It's interesting to draw something up and do a CAD drawings and everything and kind of imagine it, but then to actually make a reality of it, it's pretty amazing. Thanks for following along. I think this is going to be the end of the first Windows, maybe the only Windows update. Windows update? No, not a Windows update. Please no. Last Windows update happened on my computer. The computer laptop, this is work laptop, has decided that I no longer have a headphone jack. Entirely annoying. I have to go buy a USB interface or something in order to hook it up to my system in my house.
Anyhow, thanks for following along. Like and share and subscribe and all that stuff, and we'll see you next time.